What's up? Let's talk about art, drawing. I need to think of a good way to say this. Let's learn how to draw. This video was requested by my sister Sarah. She asked to make a video about how to start drawing for beginners. I know that probably what someone might expect from requesting a video like this is some sort of like drawing tutorial where I like take out some paper and say, here's how you draw a head. But I actually wanted to address something else. So essentially, I don't find it important what you're drawing and how you're drawing it so long as that you're drawing. Instead of giving you this drawing tutorial that you'll follow once, I wanted to address the question of what makes an artist, how you can ignite that same flame inside you if you feel like it might be there, or if you just want to like try out what I'm gonna run down. So let's get into it. Why do people draw? Why do artists exist? To me, an artist is someone who is obsessive over an interest, whether that be art, drawing and painting, whether it be music, whether it be reading or writing, no matter what, it's usually this creative outlet out of obsession. For example, in the vein of drawing and painting, people who are obsessive over their interests, like for instance, I'm obsessive over figure drawing and painting. So I'll see bodies and I'll just be so fascinated by the angles they present, by this negative space that happens here, by whenever you turn the face this way, this kind of angle, all these kinds of weird stuff that happens with the body. It utterly fascinates me. So what I would recommend to anyone who wants to start drawing is to find what fascinates you. Vincent van Gogh has a quote that says something like, "A great landscape painter will never paint a great portrait," and vice versa, because it's not what interests them, and that will show through. I believe whenever he was writing about this, he says, there will always be some sort of figure in my painting because I'm just not interested without it. So that's step number one, is find what interests you. I would say go to a cafe or a coffee shop or anywhere where there are people walking around and try to draw them. It doesn't have to be good, it can be little stick figures, but just look. Whenever I was in figure drawing class, one thing I would tell myself over and over and over again is, you're not drawing, you're looking. And that's because whenever you start to draw, you get so caught up with, oh, but how does it look? Don't worry about how it looks. It doesn't matter how it looks. What matters is that you're practicing your craft. So go out in public and draw the people around you. And then turn around and draw a landscape. Draw the sky and the grass, draw the buildings. Just draw things that aren't people. Draw flowers, draw trees. Then maybe go home, draw yourself in the mirror, draw a self-portrait, just your face, maybe like this way up. I would recommend to keep it big. Try to use up as much paper as you can. One thing I see with beginners is they're often a little bit insecure, and so they want to draw super, super tiny as if no one's gonna see it. What? Like, no, I'm just gonna look more intently at it because it's smaller. So, yeah, draw big, really use your arm. One just drawing technique I give in general is not to get caught up with all this little wrist movement and like this. Use your arm, like really draw out those lines. So yeah, go get yourself a sketchbook, draw people around you, then draw landscapes, then draw a self-portrait. And then look around at your house and draw the items around you. What you're doing now is you're practicing still lives. Maybe still lives interest you. I know a lot of painters who just dedicate their lives to drawing still lives. I think one of my professors in university, he just has series and series and series of like cups. It's what interests him. So that's really, really important. I can't drive that home enough. Find what interests you, because that will spark a fire inside you, get you excited, and it'll cause you to draw. Don't draw in a way that you think that others want you to. I know that this is always a phase that everyone's gonna go through. It shouldn't matter what the work looks like when you're done, so much as that you continue to make work. Because I'm gonna just quote Bob Ross here, aren't I? I was gonna try to like paraphrase or make it cool, but you know what? Bob Ross said it best. Talent is pursued interest. You know, so that means that whenever you see someone who's talented, it's not that they just woke up one day doing that. I do kind of think, to go off on a little tangent here, I do kind of think that Natural skill is something that's employed a little bit. It's sort of like your baseline that you start at whenever you're making art, and then you can either push it up or push it down depending on how hard you work. But it's by no means an end-all be-all. It's by no means like the people who are talented are the people who get places. That's absolutely not true. It's the people who work the hardest and who really stick at it, who stay committed to their craft, that they become a really fantastic artist. Because artistry is about the creative mind, and the more possibilities you run through as you're creating, the more pathways you expand, the more creative you are, the more of an artist you are. And sometimes you'll have lapses where you feel like you're really going up somewhere, and then you just feel like nothing I'm making is any good anymore. But you'll get over that. Usually whenever I get to a point of, wow, everything I make is awful, it's usually right before a breakthrough. And that's because the knowledge about what you're doing and your craft increases at a higher rate than your actual skill does. That's the difficult part about being an artist, is you're never satisfied with what you're making, because you're always thinking ahead to what you want to make next. And that's what keeps the light inside you alive, that makes you want to keep creating. So if you feel like what you're making isn't good enough, is it bad to say? You're right. You're right. If you take your own taste into account, you will always be working towards something. If you achieved it, I don't think an artist believes that they've ever achieved everything that they want. That's what makes us artists. If we were satisfied, we wouldn't be creating. There's something about an artist mindset that sees something they want to be in the world and then goes and puts it in there. And that's, unfortunately, this dissatisfaction, it's part of it. So my message to beginners is, every artist feels like what they're doing isn't good enough. Every artist feels like what they're making could be better, and that's a good thing. It drives you to be better. It's important to have this confidence about yourself, to be like, the reason why I'm not satisfied with this right now is because better things are coming. So just try to keep that in your mind when you're like, wow, I'm not drawing well enough. Like, you're drawing as well as you can right now, and if you keep going, you're going to be drawing even better. So it's all about practice, entirely about practice. So yeah, those are my that's my message to people who want to draw. Find what interests you. Is it figure painting, landscapes, portraits, still lives? Find what gets you fired up and just keep doing it. If you draw something you like, draw it again and again and again. Fill up sketchbooks, fill them up, and just keep going. It's all about practice. Ultimately, if you have the confidence, no, I don't even think it's about confidence. I think it's just about the desire to want to create. I feel like being shy about your drawings is something that can hinder you in wanting to make stuff, but if you could push past that first hurdle of, I'm scared of what it'll look like if I draw, if you can push past that, then that's where being an artist begins. Just do what makes you happy. If it's drawing every weekend that makes you happy, then do it. But if it's drawing every day, do that too. You're an artist no matter what you're doing. If you're creating, you're an artistan. You're artistan. Creating, you artistan. Artist. I'm trying to make up a word and it's not working. So hi, I'm Jen Carmiel. I'm a contemporary artist and painter, and I make videos about the art world that are fun and cool and that I like to ramble at. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm more active on Instagram. I post my art there, my process there, and just general things about my life. So yeah, that's it. Check me out. Check it out. Just draw.